Hi, in this video, I'm going to show you how we help the company save around 15 hours a week with their lease extraction workflow by using AI automation. So, a little bit about the actual use case. This organization is an estate agency. They take on average 90 minutes to go through a particular lease. Each lease can have up to 90 pages or even 200, and that could take up to 2 hours. They have around 10 leases per week. So the total comes to around about 15 hours of time spent extracting information from a particular lease. Now, when we went in to understand the actual steps and the workflow in more detail, this is what we understood. So the process owner would typically download the particular lease, then they would go through each individual page. And like I said, each page can take up to 90 pages. They will then extract specific information. So it could be the landlord name, the tenant's name, the guarantor, break dates, commencement or lease dates, specific clauses around if they could sublet or not sublet, information that is really important for the agency to know about a particular client and their property that they are purchasing or they are renting. So with that information, they then take it and put it into a specific Excel document. So the Excel document is formatted in a way that is user friendly for them in order to then take that information and then push it into a Microsoft Word document as a summary that can then be added into a particular CRM that they use for each of their clients and properties and leases that they have. So when looking at this, we understood that there was a lot of time spent in the taking the lease, extracting the information, and then pushing it into a Excel document. So when we're thinking about AI, we understood this is where the biggest value for AI assistance can be in this workflow. Now, of course, the other parts can then be sped up through automation, but the AI really adds its value around the extraction of information and into a particular document. So, how did we go about doing this? Before we jump into a solution, we ask ourselves, what tools do we want to use? So, when it comes to building a solution, we look at the automation tool, the AI tool, and then the connectors within the workflow. So, since they're using the Microsoft stack, we then went with Power Automate. For the AI, we did our research and we found that Azure AI's content understanding service was the best model for us to use when it comes to extracting information. And then for the connectors, there were four connectors. There's SharePoint, there's Outlook, there's Microsoft Excel, and Microsoft Word. So let's dive into an actual demo so you can see how we implemented it. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is walk you through what a typical lease would look like. So as you can see, there are a number of aspects to the lease. The first would be, who's it between, certain dates, and then there are a number of clauses and sections within the lease. The thing that we discovered was that there was a huge variation in the structure of the leases. Some things could be in different places, some things may not be there. 80-90% of the time, the fields that were required to extract were there, but there are some times that certain fields wouldn't. So that variation really made it important to pick an AI model that could handle the variation. And that's why we turned to Azure AI Content Understanding. When developing the automation, we decided to go with SharePoint, basically have it very intuitive and very easy to use. And the way it works is that they will have a page here called Documents, and there are three main folders and templates which are not to be touched. So these templates are to be used for the automation to extract information from the document and then push them into these Excel or Word documents. Okay, so let's start with a demo. I'm going to click on Leases. So this is a folder in which the staff members will add their lease here. So let's say they've downloaded their lease. I'm going to use the demo example, and I'm going to just drag and drop it here. Okay, fantastic. It's now uploaded. So that will trigger the automation. And the first thing that will happen is an email will come into this inbox. Excellent. So it's now come in, and we can see here we are currently processing the lease name, and it may take a few minutes. Can take up to 5-10 minutes depending on the size of the file. Now, what would happen here is once the processing has been done, another email will come in just to say it's been extracted. Please, can you review the file? Now, before jumping into the review, I want to share with you the Azure AI Content Understanding. So this is the Azure AI Foundry portal, and the service I'm using here, as mentioned, is Content Understanding. And the basic setup of Content Understanding is essentially building the relevant schema first. So here you see all the field names that we have added. And the second aspect would be then to create the right field descriptions. And field descriptions are essentially prompts that help the AI understand what that field name is, what it's about, giving an example of it, and guiding the AI where to find it in the document. So once you have your schema ready, you can then test it with your own document so you can see that's been here. So I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to jump straight into the email to see that it's come through. So you can see it took 1 minute between it processing it to then providing it for review. So you can see here your lease extraction for commercial office lease demo is complete. So what would we do here? So we would click on the button, open an Excel file in a format for the staff to engage with it very easily. So here they can see property name, landlord, tenant, guarantor, demise premise area. They have sections, general information, rental information, dates, rent review, additional information that they might want. And you can see here on certain extractions, it provides confidence score and the page number as well. And that gives them the ability to look and understand if it's correct. So if we wanted to, we can check the property name. We can double check here. You can see it's saying 92% confidence score. It's on page 2. So if we just go to page 2 where it feels like it's added it from, so we can see, yeah, the property, the building, and its site known as Harbor House, Harbor View House. So it has done that, and one thing it's done is added a comma. So what we can do here, we can edit the file, and let's say, for example, ASME Holdings Jersey Limited, we don't want Jersey in it, so we can just remove that. And this step is really that human in the loop process in which we can actually make edits to the document before its final output. So the next step here is once the information has been reviewed, we can then go into back into the email and click approve. So the final step now is just to give it a minute or two, and it will then send another email explaining or sharing the final output in a Word document ready to push into their CRM. Great, so that has now come through, and we can see here, here is the link to the summary doc. We can click on that. Great. So as mentioned, when we edit from the Excel file and then click approve, those updates we made in the Excel file have been reflected here. So the comma has gone, the name in the brackets has gone as well, and we can see all the information as inputted there as well, correctly formatted and ready for the staff member to upload it into whatever CRM that they're using. Okay, so what I want to do now is basically show you the final step, which we always do with every organization we work with, is to assess the value to the business. And the way that we do that is take the details we had at the beginning, which is the manual time and effort for this particular process, basically before the AI and automation is in place. As we understood that, it took around, on average, 90 minutes per lease. Could be up to 2 hours, depending on the size of the file. And on average, it took about 15 hours per week of the staff time, with about 10 documents that they process per week on average. With the AI and automation now in place, it takes around 10 minutes per lease. And that's both including the processing of the lease, but also the time taken for the staff member to review and ensure the details are correct and clicking the button approve. And altogether, that is taking them about 1.5 hours a week. So it's a huge amount of time saved as a result of this automation, freeing them up to do other things. So hopefully you found this particular video useful and gives you some more food for thought on how you might think about embedding AI and automation when it comes to document extraction and workflow automation. Thank you for watching, and if you have any questions or would like to reach out about your own projects, feel free to do so. Thank you.